Why? The word why was something that had been stuck in my mind ever since I've heard the news. It was 2009 and I was only 6 years old at the time when my dad walked through the door with the news that I never wanted to hear. In 2003, the United States invaded Iraq, and 6 years later, we were still battling the same war. My dad at the time, a lieutenant, got the call that he would soon be deployed. Only being 6 years old, I didn't understand what the word deployed. The only way I could understand was when my mom told me that Daddy's job needed him, and he had to go away for a while. At this time was something that I didn't understand. A while, to me, was a few minutes or hours. But when my mom said that Dad would have to be gone for a while, she really meant for a year. 1 whole year, my dad would be deployed for a year. I had never gone 1 week without seeing my dad, and now I have to go 52 weeks without seeing him. I felt terrible. I was upset, mad, and confused all at the same time, and all I kept asking was why. On the day my father left, as a tear ran down my mother's face, I hugged my dad one last time. Before he walked away, he said, "Don't worry, I'll be back." Don't worry? Why would I worry? It had never crossed my mind that something or someone in Iraq could hurt my dad. I started asking more and more questions. How dangerous is it? Had he been shot at? How much longer would he be gone? The questions grew more concerning as I grew older and began to understand the real situation. While he was gone, we talked weekly and tried to pretend there was something normal about this whole situation. We'd only get to talk about 15 to 20 minutes for those days and what it was like, and the things that he got to do. But this was our new normal. Only getting to tell him things that we'd been doing at home and at school through a computer screen while he was thousands of miles away. I was still mad, upset, and didn't understand why he had to leave in the first place. After a while, I was at peace with what he had to do. That was until one night. About 6 months after he left, we were able to have longer calls than normal. It was nighttime in Iraq, and I was talking to my dad about his day, when all of a sudden, we heard a big boom. And the camera shut off, but although we couldn't see him, I heard him say, "I'll be back." We could still hear everyone shouting and big booms in the background. That's when all of a sudden, the screen went black, and we couldn't hear him anymore. We were all terrified, thinking the worst. What had happened? Was he okay? Was he alive? A few days would go by and we still hadn't heard anything from him. These were the longest days of my life. Every moment that went by, I kept replying the words and he said, "Don't worry, I'll come back." I held on to those words like they were my last few breaths. He said he would come back, and I knew I could always trust his words. 3 agonizing days later, we finally got a call from him reassuring us that he was fine and that everything was going to be okay. That was the moment I started believing in coming home. After several more months of going back and forth on the computer, my dad finally came back and walked through the doors with the biggest smile on his face. And the biggest smile also ran across my face faster than you can say deployment. I ran to my dad and hugged him as tight as I could with tears of joy running down my face. The first words he could say was, "I told you I'd come back." And boy, was he right. That wouldn't be the last time my dad would leave. But now, after the first deployment, I didn't have to worry as much because I knew my dad would come home. That he would walk through those doors again. My dad always told me that he could come back, and he always kept his word. My dad leaving and always coming back gives me more than just something to believe in. It gives me hope. Hope that no matter what you've done or what's going on, you will always be able to come back. Whether it's coming back to your home, your loved ones, your job, or even your old self, there's always a place to come back. And that's why I believe in always coming back.